3.
Hey, guys, part 3 to our
Part
watching
3
of KESARI 3. If you saw KESARI 2, not KESARI 3.
No, part 3 of part 2.
Hey, if you saw us on YouTube, you saw a very cut version because copyright reading.
Very sorry about that.
Version of this and other Hindi watch on
copyrights.
Patreon or channel memberships. I will put the link in the description below. Open games, you go check that out. And at the end of the part, we will talk about the movie.
We will.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's finish this movie, huh? Just a British mouth.
Welcome to the Viceroy's Council.
Welcome to the Viceroy's Council.
पूरी दुनिया के सामने इस आदमी को बेइज्जत किया जाए। सारे जर्नलिस्ट, न्यूज़पेपर्स, मीडिया सबको इकट्ठा किया जाए।
If you plead guilty to these charges and render an apology to the Crown, we can consider to show
Guys,
some leniency to you.
That's not how those work.
सर झुका के, घुटनों पे गिर के माफी मांगता हूं, पर इस क्राउन से नहीं, अपने पूरे देश से माफी मांगता हूं। पर अदालतों में हार और जीत का फैसला नहीं, बल्कि सही और गलत का फैसला होना चाहिए। लेकिन ऐसा आपकी अदालतों में कभी हो ही नहीं सकता। जलियांवाला बाग में निकली थी।
यहाँ आपकी डिस्बारमेंट की हियरिंग चल रही है। आप दूसरे केस के बारे में बात नहीं कर सकते।
एक्चुअली सर मैं कर सकता हूं। रूल 7C ऑफ बार काउंसिल रूल्स, ये लॉ मुझे अधिकार देता है कि अगर मेरे पास ऐसा कोई भी सबूत है जिसे मैं ये साबित कर पाऊं जो डिसबारमेंट के चार्जेस आपने मुझ पे लगाए हैं वो गलत है, इस हियरिंग में उन्हें आपके सामने पेश कर सकता हूं।
This is correct. He fucking played us.
Stop the press. Stop the bloody press.
That boat has sailed, Mr. Dyer. किसी भी केस में किसी अक्यूज को बाइज्जत बरी करने से पहले सारे जूरी मेंबर्स का वर्डिक्ट एक मत होना जरूरी है। जलियांवाला बाग के केस में 12 के 12 जूरी मेंबर्स ने जनरल डायर को नॉट गिल्टी घोषित किया होगा। Am I right? जूरर नंबर 7 हैरल्ड लैक्सी को सामने बुलाना चाहूंगा।
Go ahead, Mr. Nair.
अब आप सिर्फ सच बोल के अपने आप को बचा सकते हैं। आपके बैंक रिकॉर्ड्स हैं हमारे पास।
यस मिस्टर लैक्सी, उस दिन आपका वर्डिक्ट क्या था? Guilty. Can you please be a little louder, Mr. Laxi? Guilty. General Dyer was guilty. Juror number 5 और juror number 9 ने भी जनरल डायर को गिल्टी डिक्लेयर किया था। Here are their written affidavits. क्राउन ने तो जज मैकार्डी को लंदन में
deciding to
पोस्टिंग
go
की रिश्वत
to
देकर हिंदुस्तानियों के खिलाफ
disbarment
कर
court.
दिया। और इसी वजह से
that's a
जूरी
heck of a
वर्डिक्ट
thing
को
to make up.
ऑफिशियल जजमेंट से हटाया गया। जनरल डायर एंड द ब्रिटिश क्राउन इज गिल्टी ऑफ जेनोसाइड। यस, दे आर गिल्टी ऑफ जेनोसाइड। उसने घायलों को 12 घंटे तक बाग से निकलने नहीं दिया ताकि गिद्ध और कौवे उन्हें जिंदा खा सके। पर पिछले 2 सालों में मैं ये समझ गया हूं कि हम हिंदुस्तानी इन लोगों के लिए इंसान है ही नहीं। We are animals to them. 74,000 से ज्यादा हिंदुस्तानी सोल्जर्स मरे थे उस लड़ाई में, जो लड़ाई हमारी थी भी नहीं। We are animals. जिसकी सिर्फ चीख हो सकती है पर आवाज नहीं, जिसको सर झुकाने के लिए कानून तो मिलता है पर इंसाफ नहीं। ये जानवरों का झुंड अब देश बनने जा रहा है और ये जानवर अब चीखेगा नहीं, गुर्राएगा। और कल जब अखबारों से रोशनी निकलेगी तो इनकी बंदूकें हकलाना शुरू करेंगी। आप मुझे डिसबार कीजिए, फांसी पे चढ़ाइए या गोली मार दीजिए, पर एक बात मेरी ध्यान से सुन लीजिएगा। Get the fuck out of my country! Get the fuck out of our country!
शंकर नायर ने सिर्फ डायर को ही नहीं,
Really? तुम्हें अपने फ्यूचर की चिंता नहीं?
तुम इनके फ्यूचर के बारे में फिक्र करो।
I thought you'll sink like the Titanic. But you turned out to be the iceberg. Brilliant.
You have been withdrawn from the field with immediate effect.
Yeah, they've never apologized.
Very nice. Very nice. It was very different, obviously, from Sardo Udam, for what that film was trying to do. This was a lot more commercial, more dramatized, obviously, version of it. You guys can let us know what was factual and what was not, because obviously we don't really know. I'm assuming there's some things that I'm like, there's no way they could have made that up.
Right.
In terms of like, he was going to be for the disbarment. That's a weird one to make up.
Yeah,
so I
as
assume he did
is
something that was like, you're going to be disbarred now, and he did that specifically so he could tell the press
right
exactly what happened.
As is the woman who claimed she was raped and it was really her lover.
I'd assume a lot of that.
I
Obviously,
assume that is actually factual.
some of the way certain things are said is obviously dramatized for movies. That happens in every historical movie, really. You kind of, people just don't talk
right
like that usually. I hope he said fuck so that many times. Right. Please tell me that part is true. I would love it if that was true.
Yeah.
Because that's a brilliant thing. Overall, I thought it was there was a lot of really great elements of it. In terms of like the cinematography, the lighting, the production design. I thought a lot of the performances were really nice. And overall, I thought it was a really nice watch. I did have some issues with, like, I think the main British guy was way too caricature-y. Even though if he might have done some of these things, it would definitely, like, you played a little too much into the evil British guy.
It was one note.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
So he would be my least favorite performance in the thing. And like pointing it out that even though, he's an evil man and he's awful, but like it was more pointing at like, this is him. He's the reason this happened, as opposed to the disease of the British Empire is the bigger thing.
Right. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. This was a silver with a blue diamond.
Blue diamonds.
Yeah. It absolutely gets. I think it's an excellent film.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an exceptional film.
Yeah.
It's an excellent film with lots of elevative things when it comes to the cinematography from Dibajit Ray, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah.
And the whole production design, costuming, sets, lighting, sound design,
It's all
absolutely fantastic.
All top notch.
Absolutely fantastic. And I did that too. Even though he gave and probably was directed to do so, I thought he did a very good job.
No, he did. He wasn't bad.
And let me tell you, for a film loaded with white people, it was nice to not constantly groan. We know we're never going to groan with Mark.
No.
But it was nice that there was a supporting cast around him.
I would love to talk to him, because I'm assuming that guy's real and he was Irish.
Absolutely.
Why would he make that choice
he was.
otherwise?
He was, for sure. But I thought everybody did a very good job, including, the white. There were a lot of white characters in this, probably the most we've ever seen with speaking roles in it that have actually like supporting or under supporting roles. They did a very good job, and I felt like the story, it never dragged.
No,
it maintained its pacing. And
it gave information in a more of a commercial way, than Sardo Udam would.
And it was nice. It was nice that it didn't do what often these kinds of films do: try to tug at your heartstrings without having made an investment beforehand.
Yeah.
That opening sequence, they did a very good job of not manipulating but presenting. Mm-hmm. I believed it. I hated reliving it. I thought they showed some of the graphicness to depict it enough to make it hard to watch without distancing you as an audience. Yeah. Sardo Udam is a platinum. That thing is absolutely one of the best films India's ever presented.
It was also trying to be a different film.
But it was trying to be a more grounded, rooted, historical biopic.
Yeah.
This was definitely commercialized.
Yeah.
But
I
gotta say, they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I agree.
For a film that typically we don't like commercialization of historical stories.
Especially awful ones like that.
They did a good job. And I felt like it was merited. And what we were talking about was someone did not do their homework. Flashbulbs weren't available for use like that until way into the 1930s and 40s.
Yeah, so
you took a shot and you had to take it out.
It basically exploded.
Yeah, there was powder. It took a long time. You couldn't just go boom, 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 boom. But you can with the props. You can with the props. But yeah, it's obviously. I'm glad we watched it.
Yeah, me
I'm glad we watched it.
It definitely. The concerns we had from the trailer were alleviated watching the film.
The trailer's worse than the film.
Yeah. In terms of like, this could be good, but I'm worried about these certain elements of it. They did a good job in the film with those elements.
And I gotta say, I think I understand. I don't agree. You know, I can accept without approving why they made the trailer the way that they did, to let audiences know this is gonna be commercial and it's gonna give you some Jai Hind moments. But what was nice, like that moment in the bathroom, it's justified in that moment.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you're kind of waiting for him to give him a dig because he so deserves to have a dig at that point. Versus if it was just a standalone moment where he's saying it just to go, ha, isn't that great? He ripped on a British guy. That's how it felt in the trailer.
Yeah.
It worked in the narrative.
Yeah. It'd be really interesting to delve into what elements. I'm sure they tried to stick to as much of obviously the real elements as possible.
They covered a lot of ground.
But there's obviously, once again, the dramaturgy of a film.
Yeah.
You kind of need to do it because life isn't really this exciting, especially in a courtroom.
No.
You don't have music behind you. You don't have big standing moments.
No.
It kind of just passes. And then you kind of have to dramatize it for film wise. But I thought they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I did too.
My biggest gripe with the film would be the over simplification and also like character tree at times of that main British guy.
Agreed.
Because I would have, even though he's an absolutely evil person, 100%, no doubt about it. But also people don't usually talk like that.
And people aren't, even evil people are not one-dimensional.
They don't, yeah.
They're more complex than that.
They don't know that they're evil usually.
Number one, they don't know that they're evil, and they're not evil all the time, which is what makes it so confounding and wild, is because some of the most evil people that have ever existed actually, you discover, oh my goodness, they actually were personable and funny at times.
Yeah.
That's weird.
It's very strange.
Versus a caricature.
And also like pointing it directly almost at him as opposed to
Agreed.
the British.
Right, the British
even
as
though
a
I know
whole.
they did say at the end, obviously they've never apologized.
Right.
And all that, but I would still have preferred it been like, obviously I know this was the case against this man, so that might be why.
I get it.
As opposed to.
Right.
But this is just one atrocity. An awful atrocity.
And I didn't like, even though it might be true, I didn't really like hyper accentuating his hatred was because he was bullied.
Yeah. No.
It didn't really work for me.
But they might have presented that case in the actual case.
Right, exactly. They may have been covering it.
Which is still stupid.
Right.
But obviously it was 1919, so they might have thought that was an okay, like, school people that shoot up schools, even if they were bullied.
Did they not? One of the things that surprised me, and maybe it didn't happen in the trial, I was certain they were going to get at least one person who was there pulling triggers and didn't want to be pulling triggers to take the stand.
They didn't.
And I would have liked to have gotten some vantage point because, yeah, this general called the order, but there were soldiers that pulled the trigger. Yeah. And there are points of, disobedience where you have an order that is unlawful and you say, I'm not following that order.
Granted, this is British ruled India.
True.
And so once again, they can kind of just
they can control
force
everything.
People to do what they want.
They can buy out the juries. Yep.
Yeah. They don't really have to follow rules because they're
the rule makers. Yeah.
Yep. We haven't talked about Akshay. Akshay, as always, does a very good job.
Yep.
He's actually he's a very talented actor. Not only is he extremely funny, in that we've seen.
Loony funny.
Loony funny.
Like, ridiculous.
Yeah. The faces he makes.
Absurd funny. And then he can come in and be really still and grounded.
Yeah. And he does this often. We've seen it. Whether it was it Toilet? Did we see Toilet? Padman. We saw Padman.
I love him in Padman.
We haven't seen Toilet yet, right?
We haven't seen Toilet. But Padman might be my favorite dramatic role of Akshay.
But he also has KESARI 1.
Yeah, the first KESARI. He's just a very solid actor all around.
Yeah,
no complaints. And I enjoy watching Akshay act.
Madhavan did a good job. The
very good
female
job
as well did a
yep. Ananya Pandey.
Oh yeah, she was in that Topeka cheating movie that everybody hated that we loved.
And
Mark Bennington.
Yeah, Mark's always good.
He is.
I'm so grateful that he really is all the time. Just there's a reason he works all the time. He's a solid actor.
He is. And going for an Irish accent in there is nice.
Yeah. And speaking Hindi, man, that's
always
tough.
That's you guys tell me. Obviously, this is obviously British ruled India, and they had obviously time to learn language. But in a British courtroom, would so many people, including the white people,
good question,
speaking Hindi?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, did they do that for the movie? Obviously, for the audiences.
I also want to give a shout out to a small dose. I love the score. It could have been overscored. It was not. And I thought a very good job was done in making it feel like a period piece, which it was, but also in the moments of adrenaline and the moments of, yes,
that's why you're saying small dose.
You bet. The first time we ever gave a shout out to him was the score he did for Uri.
Yeah, he's reached out on Instagram.
And he's reached out and said thank you for the review and for everything. We were supposed
to actually meet him in Mumbai.
This goes back to early 2019.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job.
Did a great job on the score. Great job on the score.
I didn't know that was him. He did Kill too.
Oh, I didn't realize Shaswat did Kill.
Not Kill 2, just Kill.
So, did he really?
He's one of them.
He's one of the composers on there. I didn't realize you did that, sir.
Oh, wow. Nice.
But, yeah, I thought this was a great score.
Yeah, great score. Great.
There might be some things in this that, even though it's a silver, the blue diamond aspect of it, there might be some things come around dummy time. Set design, production design, costuming, cinematography was beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful.
It had a lot of really, really nice elements to it that were a nice surprise, a nice job.
Which is a tip of the hat to your director.
Yeah,
because the director has the final say on all of that.
I can see also why Indians were really, really enjoying it. Obviously, it's a lot more, especially if you're Punjabi.
Yeah.
Anytime you tell a story, it's like it's got to be heartbreaking.
Keep telling it.
Yeah,
it means to just never be forgotten. It needs to keep being told.
And I know that absolutely should be made in Hollywood.
I'm still disappointed that it didn't become more well known here through the telling of Sartor Adam. Yeah. Because that's a spectacular film.
Literally, just hire everybody from that movie, and then give them a Hollywood budget, and just do that movie again.
Yeah, it's a story that needs to be told. It's been way too long since stories about India have been told here in a way that's accessible to the Hollywood audiences.
Yeah, and this is like a Schindler's List style story. So is obviously
it's a big story.
The partition with the famines and there's like I said. There's been a billion atrocities that the British did in India and others, not just the British. Obviously, they've been colonized by a lot of people. But this style of story, this is an Oscar style of a story.
Especially if you depict the actual build-up to...
The way they did in Sartor Adam?
The day of the event, yeah.
Good God.
Yeah.
The way they did it was Oscar-worthy.
It was. Yeah, I remember the sequence where they talked about it at the end here, where the character was shot dead. They depicted that in Sartor Udam. I want to see that film again. That film was so good.
It was a fantastic.
But so was this. I really enjoyed this.
It was a really, really nice one.
Yeah.
Thank you for waiting for us to get to it. Let us know what you thought about the movie. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, what your thoughts on it are. What's your next Hindi watch along? If you saw us on YouTube, you saw a very cut version because of copyright reasons. The VXC full uncut version of this and other Hindi watch-alongs you have to Patreon or channel memberships. I will put the link in the description below or the pinned comments. You go check that out. And